Hey, this is Tiffany. I'm here with Francisco. He's one of our top agents here on the Warburton team. Thank you so much, Francisco, for joining me today for this brief interview about your recent closing with the Warburton team. If you could, for a minute, talk about the process from the time you received the client all the way to closing.
Got it. Well, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me here, Tiffany. And yeah, the process of it was first you handed me the lead, right? The ICAs hand you the lead. Um, I'll just go over like the key things,
Yeah.
but the buyer presentation is definitely the first step. Once after you meet the client, right? If they show up, you go over through the buyer presentation. Um, the whole transferring the client to my numbers friend, which in this case was Kathy from JJ Mortgage. That tied the customer more into us. I mean, they are at this point they already signed the BR. Now they're talking to the lender. They're getting pre-qualified. I love how the Warburton team, the buyer presentation, is letting the buyer know, hey, if you want to submit an offer today, even though you're not pre-approved, you could do it. So that's big. We move on to the lender, and then after that, setting the buyer's expectations realistically and truthfully,
Yeah.
right? You want to let them know what. Well, first you let them know what our duties are as far as the buyer agent and listing agent, but you also let them know what their duties are, right? How time is of the essence, etc.
Mhm.
So, and then after that, obviously, once we get the ball rolling, the TC team, the Warburton team provided also amazing. I think it was also key to closing this because of their knowledge on the transactions and their knowledge on the timeline as far as the escrow timeline goes. But that would be, I think, the process of how the transaction went smoothly.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Also, you did mention, well, first of all, was there anything unique or different about this transaction in regards to like other ones you've done in the past?
Yeah, there was one thing that was unique and new for me, and that was getting the buyer representative agreement signed right off the bat before showing a house. That was unique. Having to explain, and and thank goodness for that buyer presentation that you guys have, because I just followed it as close as possible, right? The ABC, and that was unique. That was unique, and it was also unique that it was the first time I have to have to get these buyers to sign the agreement, but the way that it just everything unfolded, they ended up you know working fast. We ended up buying, getting an offer accepted, and closing the deal within 30 days.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, what was your customer or client's reaction to that document when you brought it out and had to discuss it with them?
Okay. Yeah, it was a good reaction. Well, it was a funny reaction because the whole time they're looking at me like, is this guy trying to sell me or and,
Mhm.
and it got after I did the presentation and explained, everything that we do and everything, they were still very skeptical. And
Okay.
what got them over was that I said, look, why don't you guys hear this from a third party? Google it right now. Get on your phones and Google California new real estate buyer representation law. And I stepped away, I stepped back and I gave them like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and they whispered between them and everything. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, and then they understood. They got it. But I think that reaction I guess was unique because it's also one of the beginning, uh, you know, transactions like that, having the BR sign later on the road, 6 months from now, a year from now, it's going to be a normal thing.
Hmm.
We're going to know already. But in this case, yeah, they were kind of caught off guard. And
Well,
yeah,
I really think that the time you took to give your client shows your professionalism, that you gave them a moment to kind of research the document and understand exactly what it was that they're signing. Because, like you
Right.
said, this is a new part of our business that we are integrating and all getting used to, as well as the clients. And so I think that's really fabulous that you allowed them that space and time for a few minutes to kind of look it up online, see what it was all about before asking them to go forward with their signature. So good job to you on doing that.
Thank you.
Lastly, I would just like you to maybe touch on, you mentioned our team quite a bit and how there were different, strategies and resources available to you as part of the Warburton team that helped you in this transaction. If you could briefly talk about just what resources you were able to use by being part of this amazing award-winning team, as well as what strategies you've learned by being a part of this team that helped with this transaction.
Got it. So the resources, it was a two-part question. It was the resources and
Strategies.
the strategies. That's right. So as far as the strategies go, this is, I love the progressiveness of Andrew and how Andrew is he's just on it, on time. And I like that he is telling us, look, the culture has changed. The strategy is now. And I mean, now, like, I want to see a house right now.
Hmm.
So the strategy, and again, I go back to the whole buyer presentation. That strategy right there is also gold to me.
Hmm.
I feel like that those strategies really helped me out, and that's something unique that I got from your team, from this team. And then the resources. I mean, you guys are there. You guys are there on Saturday and Sunday. I don't know if that says everything, but uh, everywhere from the ICAs to um, Kathy Rainier, I think is her last name. I mean, she always answers my messages and calls. You, Tiffanie, you've been great too. Every time I reach out to you, I mean, it doesn't take you more than a minute to reach back. So the resources, the ICAs, the transaction coordinators, the sales manager, everyone, Andrew, you guys are all amazing because you're there.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for taking this time to talk a little bit about your experience. I want to tell you congratulations on your closing. That's so exciting. And just reiterate that we here are behind you 100%. The Warburton team is about team. And I just feel like it's so exciting to see the success of our agents. And so, congratulations on a successful closing.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
and
for
thank
your
you
help.
so much. Thank you for
Okay.
taking the time to do this interview. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you as
Okay.
well.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.